I could tell you this because Chris, I could hear you right now. But Chris, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. And guess what? It's going to be fucking worth it. It's going to be worth it. It's going to be, of course, it's going to be hard. It's taking you 35 years to get wherever you're at, 28 years to get wherever you're at, 52 years to get wherever you're at. Wherever it is that you're at, it's going to take some time to change. It's going to take some time to evolve. You're going to have to make some tough decisions, but I can guarantee you, it will be worth it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am excited to have as a guest tonight, the beautiful Barbara Majeski on the Raw Unscripted show. Barbara Majeski, what's going on, sister?
Thank you. This is going to be a fun conversation. So, Christopher, thanks for having me.
You are welcome, my dear. Thank you. I figure I wanted to do a little preemptive, little psycho buildup on that because we were talking about before we went on air some of the things that we want to accomplish in this conversation tonight. And you and I met over Clubhouse. And for those of you guys who have been living under a rock, Clubhouse is an audio app that came out during the middle of the pandemic. And quite honestly, for me, and I'm going to ask you this question, Barbara. I had so many people telling me, Chris, you need to be on this app. You need to be on this app. And I'm like, I'm barely on Twitter. I'm working Instagram. I've got LinkedIn. I've got Facebook. I got Facebook groups. I got Facebook pages. I don't have time for anything else. And then literally one night, two people that I respect the most messaged me within the same hour and said, you need to be on this app. And I remember telling my wife, it was a Sunday. And I said, okay, let me go download this effing app and blah, 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 and get on there. And it changed my perspective about humanity, especially what was going on during the pandemic and the political crises and everything else. I found myself in rooms with beautiful people like you, all of us from different walks of life, colors, races, sexualities, political preferences. And it was hours upon hours of people pouring into one another. And for you, my question is, what did Clubhouse teach you about humanity?
Oh my God. I've learned so much from Clubhouse. I learned a lot about myself. You know what it taught me more than anything, Christopher, is that my alignment with certain people is like the people that I thought that I like would be friends with and do business with. When you're on a social drop-in audio, all you can do is hear their message and their voice and their sense of humor and their likes and their don't likes and their ability to articulate themselves. The people that I have become good friends with and gone into business with, and I will be lifelong friends with through Clubhouse, are so diverse. And I'm so grateful to have this opportunity where my eyes were closed. I couldn't see these people. I could only hear these people. And all of a sudden, the people that I had the most connection with looked nothing like me. Race, gender, ethnicity, religion. I can't begin to tell you how it really just shattered who I thought my tribe was. I think I'll land it by saying this. I've always felt like an outsider in like all the social circles that I looked like I should have been a part of, but I don't fit in.
Yep.
Clubhouse, I fit in there. But I'm telling you, like my friend Jonathan Bing is a good example. Jonathan and I would argue on Clubhouse till 2:00 in the morning about the pandemic, about the vaccine, about that. Argue, yeah, we're both from Jersey. We both stayed in the argument. So we didn't like each other's opinion, but we knew that we liked each other. And It was like being part of this, like this social experiment of like, just because you don't agree doesn't mean you can't be friends. And his mother died, and I was going to go to the services, but I wasn't able to make it, so I sent flowers. I had his kids on the Today Show last October. But if you heard us on Clubhouse, you would never know that we are actually more alike than we are different. We like that we'll stand up for what we believe in. So I guess that's my takeaway. And I think Jonathan's like, I'll just randomly call him, be like, yo, I got this thing. I love that. I just love having all of a sudden these friendships and these partnerships that I would have passed by because they don't look like me. They don't talk like me. They don't come from me. I learned a lot about myself and really about people. And that was a long way to say a short thing.
No. That's exactly what I feel. I mean, I literally was losing faith in humanity. I'm a person that loves all people from all walks of life. And I think to your point, Barbara, the fact that we lose sight of having those deep conversations and being able to not only just try to get our point across, but the bigger emphasis on Clubhouse is listening. And I've always been a really good listener, but it forced me to be a much better listener, to listen for what's not being said and listen to be able to paraphrase back to somebody and say, so listen, I understand that we disagree on this particular point, and here's what I see where you're coming from. Am I correct? and having that person go, wow, you just validated me by really listening to me. Let me give you an opportunity to say what you need to say about what your situation is. And I believe that really extended out. That was always my kind of sign off during my Clubhouse rooms that I would do, a couple times a week at least, was, okay, ladies and gentlemen, we just had this amazing experience with 200 people in here, 300 people in here, whatever it was, 30 people. Let's go continue this out into our families. Let's continue this out into our workplaces. Let's not be so scared and not see what's going on in the news that's saying, oh, everybody's divisive and you can't talk about this or that. Clubhouse for me validated the fact that what was being perpetuated in other areas of the news media and other areas of social media was bullshit. And that I was in rooms with all these amazing, beautiful people who were doing nothing but pouring into one another, who were struggling with the lockdown, who had been by themselves for 6 weeks or 6 months, and being able to see the love and the humanity in one another. That once the lockdown lifted and I spent a lot of time outside anyway. I didn't stay inside like I was supposed to. But I went out there and I saw humanity in such a more beautiful light. And that just continued. I've always said hi to people and good morning to people, but now I really extend like, how's your day going? What's going on? I hope you're having a beautiful time, or, making a cash register person's like day go by.
Yeah.
And make them feel so much better about that. When you think about humanity, do you think that, because I know you're involved in the news media and whatnot, do you think what's being reported in the news and the social media, do you think that's a real accurate depiction of what's going on in the world today?
News is an advertisement.
Yeah.
It's paid for advertising, and different parts of the world, they laugh that we listen to the news with such like faith that we're getting unbiased and, true journalism. It's not journalism. Your news is paid for. Those are advertisers paying for the news that you want. And there's people making money and things that are being suppressed. It was very frustrating and it's been something that I've known for a very long time. So right. I will say that. But I want to go back to what you're saying, like how all of a sudden you came out of the pandemic, you saw people differently. I did come out seeing people differently. And I stopped really, I'm not a very judgy person. I'm a curious person. But I definitely like put people into boxes of like, oh, we would never be friends. And now I'm like, oh my God, I never do that anymore. I'm like, I wonder what this person's like and what they're about. And I think that I would love to spread that more to people, because I think people's perception of me is so not the reality. I'm like, oh, no. Let me tell you, I can relate to your experience, not so much living in a car, but not having a place to call home, to not know where my next meal came from, to struggle, with different things, to grow up in struggle, and to overcome adversity and really just hold my feet to the fire when I wanted to quit. So when you talk about the bands that you have being unstoppable and, no excuses, I'm like, oh yeah, like you have to message that shit to yourself, because you are going to bump up against things that you're going to want to quit everything. And you're going to want to quit everything. Yes. Period. Your marriage, you're going to want to quit that. You're going to want to quit all the things. So anyway, I just want to go back to that, because I really am grateful for these friendships I bonded with on Clubhouse, because Grant Cardone flew a bunch of us down on his plane to go to an event, a real estate event. And if you took up, like, it's just this like the land of misfit toys, you might say, or we were such a bizarre group. But we were family. And it's just so interesting. Like, you connect through thoughts and dialogue. And you connect more when you can argue through something and come out that other side and be like, I fucking hate your point of view. I fucking think that's the dumbest thing that anyone can say. But that doesn't mean I don't like you. And I wish society had more access to that. Like the way that, I don't know. Anyway.
It's true. It's true. Our mutual friend, Tony Rodriguez, and I have some very interesting conversations sometimes. And I'm like, dude, where did you get that from? Like, what stuff are you reading? But we love each other so much that we're like, okay, let me see what you have to say. Let me see what you have to say. And I think that's what we need to be having more of.
Comes down to listening. It's like, all right, you might not agree with what I have to say, but just like, agree that I should have the voice to say it. And I think that was shut down a lot during the pandemic. Like those who didn't agree with the narrative that was propagated by advertisers and money.
Just cut everybody off.
We were shut down. I was canceled on Twitter. So I mean, literally I can't even get that account back, even though Elon Musk is on there, but that's a whole nother story. But it was just fascinating to be unpopular. For somebody who strives, there's such a good lesson, like Christopher. I don't know if anybody can identify with this, but I like to be like, I wanted to, if there's a popularity contest for Miss Congeniality, I wanted to win it. I like being liked. And I learned how to be okay with not being liked. Not, I was like, oh my God, I would always want to be on the popular side, but I became unpopular and I became comfortable with not being liked or popular. And it's probably one of the best things that's ever happened to me, because it allows me to move to higher levels personally, professionally, spiritually, and not let other people's judgment or opinion of who I am and what I'm doing deter me from my aspirations. So.
Oh, I want to dig into that, Barbara. I want to dig into that. I love that. When you were talking about being misunderstood, when I think about the different emotions and different things, I mean, I've looked this way my whole life. I used to have long hair. I've always been misunderstood and like, oh, is he mad? Is he
prejudged?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that, because so many people feel like they're being misunderstood. What was the deeper work that you needed to do in order to let go of that need to be liked and validated and to fit in, to be able to be in that land of misfit toys and to be able to sit there and say, I'm going to embrace exactly who I am. I'm going to be me, you be you. Let's all be us together. What parts of things in your identity did you have to let go of to find that confidence and that clarity and that calm, I guess, in the middle of a storm, where so often we do want to be validated. We want to be included as little boys and little girls. Yeah. We're significant. So we get the significance, then we're important, and yay. But talk to us about that, because I know a lot of people are struggling with their identity right now, and they're struggling with finding that calm in the middle of the storm when so much is about popularity.
Well, it's tough, not like when haters come at you on social media, at first it really hurts, but then you do come to learn, like, your other people's opinion of you have no jurisdiction over. Like, right. There's nothing, you can be the juiciest peach on the planet and not everybody's going to like peaches. So if your goal is to get everybody to agree with you, to like you, to support you, you're losing the battle. So right. I shifted somewhere along the lines of realizing that judgment of me was really just a reflection on the person that was judging me, and I had no jurisdiction over it. I have no power of the way that you think of me. I only control how I conduct myself. That's it. I'm like, this is all I got. And as long as I am in alignment with my intention, my purpose, what I'm looking to do, then you can't sway me off that mark. Now you can take me a little sideways with your nasty words every once in a while, but you're actually not going to take me off course, because like you, Christopher, I'm relentless. I'm relentless in my pursuit of living my very best life, living at the highest expression of who I am. And that means I'm a work in progress and a masterpiece simultaneously, right?
Oh yeah.
I don't have this mastered. Like, when somebody says something nasty to me on the interwebs, I want to fire back like the little bitch that I am. Like, I am a fucking piece of work, and I got words, and you've probably heard me on Clubhouse. I can cut you with just my words. And but
feisty.
Then I'm like, that is not. So then I go to this. Is that improving my health, my wealth, or my happiness? Probably not. So then I move on and I swipe left, and I'm like, your opinion of me doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and live my very best life. And I just heard this really great quote. Somebody was saying, like, block you? No, I'm just going to show you how well I'm going to do. Like, I don't block anyone. Yep. I've had people do really mean stuff to me. I ain't blocking you. Watch me win.
Exactly. You're going to set the example for that. And I love that attitude, because it's so important. I mean, when I learned about hurt people, and I could do the same thing, like back, I call it street Chris. Like, there's still street Chris in there. I've developed a lot of filters, and I've developed a lot of ability, because I've learned the important lessons of seek first to understand, then to be understood, by Dr. Stephen Covey. That was one of the hugest aha moments for me, because I spent my entire childhood with my mother, who had to be understood. She had to be right. And what happens if you have to be right? Everybody has to be wrong. And what happens if you make people wrong? They get defensive, and then it becomes argumentative, and it becomes a one-upsmanship. Nobody ever wins. So for me, being able to sit there and say, okay, how can I seek first to understand, then to be understood? I recently did some controversial TikTok videos, and I had some people come after me for stuff. And my first inclination was to rip them a new asshole.
Yeah.
And I just sat there. I said, you know what? I said, I actually feel sorry for that being your initial comment, because I'm sure you're a good person. I would really like to understand where the hate and the anger comes from, because you don't even know me. And so they would send me private messages. Nobody has ever responded to me like that. And I'm like, well, there's something in there that obviously I've triggered within you. I said, I'd like, to your point as well, Barbara, I said, we're probably more the same than we are different. We're probably just having a difference of opinion on this little thing that I meant to be controversial on because I wanted to stoke the fire on some things. How can we get people to sit there and be able to realize that we are more the same than we are different?
I would, I just think we need to have those examples where we can agree to disagree and we can hate each other's opinions, but we don't have to hate the person, the opinion, but don't hate the person, and don't let it escalate from there. Because we're all operating from our, highest state of consciousness. Right. And we want to try to get people to move. That's all we can do is just try to find that understanding, because there's the cancel culture. I don't support that. I don't support cancel culture. I want, our enemies are more dangerous in the dark. You're going to X, Y, and Z. I'm like, I need to know what they're thinking, what they're saying, what they're doing, all the things. So I'm just not into that. But I think people we really do, man, we got a lot of work to do. I'm going to say this. I think courage is not applauded enough. I think people need to grow a sack. Okay. I think people need to grow a set of fucking balloons.
That's my girl. Go for it.
Yeah. Even on Facebook, so many people behind the scenes are like, I don't believe biological men should compete against women in sports. We're all like, you be the woman that you want to be. Nobody has a problem with that. We want everyone to feel comfortable in their own skin. I think a lot of people would agree with that. Some people are on the margins. They don't understand that. You don't have to understand it, but just cool your jets. But biological men, like I can't get testicular cancer. I don't have balls, right? Like, let's just go with the biology, with science. If you were born with a set of balls, you were also born with a high propensity for testosterone. You cannot compete in women's sports. It's just not biologically correct. I'm sorry. Mother Nature screwed you. Okay. I'm sorry. Let me send you some flowers, but get the fuck out of women's sports. Okay. Right. Like, I don't want Mike Tyson getting in the MMA because he decided he wants to be a woman because he, whatever. But very few people will post about that on Facebook. I feel the same way, but they're silent. People have no fucking chutzpah. They have no cojones. They have no balls. They got no balloons. Your silence is the problem. Your silence is the problem, because the people that are putting it out on the media and making women of the year that are men are fucking women, and you're part of the problem. If you are silent when women are getting their autonomy, their womanhood is being bastardized, and you're like, well, I think that's really bad. I won't, no. You use every platform, and if you can't find your own words, then repost and use somebody else's words. But to sit there and stay silent, I think, honestly, Christopher, is everybody needs to be reschooled on how to grow a sack. How's that? That's my next webinar.
How to grow a sack. I love that.
Maybe how to have courage. Have courage. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to lose friends. They weren't your friends anyway. You're going to engage in a debate. Well, maybe you'll learn that you're wrong. Oh, I don't like conflict. Everybody has to learn how to deal with conflict and adversity in a healthy way, right? And stop the cancel stuff. That people are being silent while rights are being usurped. And in private, everyone's a leaner. That my dad calls them the leaners. I agree with you. That's people that'll lean in, but they don't want anyone else here. Honestly, I think our culture has really been, I don't want to use the word, but they've had their
pussified.
Yeah. You use the word, not me. But I think their cajones have been cut off. And I think everybody's got to grow some and get back out there. And you know what? You're going to find your alliances with new people, new lions. Like,
exactly.
Put in the chat, like, lions don't turn around for barking dogs. You're going to find yourself in a pride, in a pack of lionesses and real ballers. And you're going to be like, all right, these people, because that's just how I feel. I think there's a real lack of cojones.
Yeah. And I totally agree with you, because when you start being out there and being a little bit more honest in what it is that you can do and who it is that you are, like Gary Vaynerchuk talks about, you need more rabid haters to have rabid followers. And I've always been one of those kind of guys. I had somebody hit me up a couple of years ago and they're like, Chris, I've been following you on social media for a long time, and I can't tell whether you support Trump or you support Biden. I can't tell if you're a vaxxer or a non-vaxxer, da, 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 da. You talk about, teaching your son lessons. What lessons are you trying to teach your son? And I sat there and I'm like, oh, that's a really good one. Because my wife has said the same thing. She goes, why aren't you ever controversial? Why aren't you ever just laying it out there? And I said, because I've been so much a part of that divisiveness and that, okay, if you're not like me, then I hate you, or I'm not going to listen to you. That I've always been kind of like the person, like, even irrespective of how I look like a badass, like I can kick your ass and can. But I'm always like trying to be the bridge in those situations to say, okay, how can I get this person and this person who are essentially saying the same thing, but in a different way? How can I get them to have that conversation and be that unity? But I've also realized in recent times that for me to be a little bit more edgy and controversial and say some of those things has unlocked other people to say, oh, Chris is actually finally having an opinion about these things. Now I can do those same things. So I think part of it's about leading by example, which is what you and I do. And you said it before so eloquently, which is going to cause me to shift gears for a second, because we're all a work in process. We're all a work in process. And some people sit there and look at us and say, Christopher and Barb have it fucking made. They have this, they have that. We're constantly a work in process. And we talk about resiliency. Talk to me about your life and your career, and perhaps one of the lowest points in your life where you really had to draw upon that resiliency and that courage to be able to get up and fight one more day. Talk to us about that, because I know there's a lot of people right now. I help a lot of people right now who are really struggling to hang on. I'm a part of a dad's group where every single day I'm commenting on hundreds of posts, keeping these guys going. They're just feeling at wit's end. I know you've been through some tremendous time, so I will let you pick your times, but talk to us about some of those low times and what it is that you had to do to find that chutzpah. I like that. To be able to continue on when you didn't feel like it and you wanted to give up.
I mean, I wanted to quit anything and everything that I ever wanted to do. I mean, they're just always that moment. You're like, fuck this shit. Like everybody has this fuck this shit moment, right?
Lots.
Hashtag that. Fuck this shit. I think it's from like Breaking Bad or one of those things. So I've definitely had those, push through. And, so for good or for bad, I will, I've had the opportunity. I grew up with a brother with special needs, and he has been such a guiding force, because I always thought if I didn't figure things out and figure out how to make money, how to provide, how to really make personal wealth, like not make money, not get paid, but wealth. Like I thought my brother would have been institutionalized. In my head, it was a do or die. Barbara, you figure it out, or he's institutionalized and it's on your ass, because he can't take care of himself. He's counting on you. And that measure always pushed me through adversity. Like I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm not that smart. And Christopher, I'm not. Like, I graduated in a class of 360, right? That was the number of people. My class rank was 180. That means I'm average.
Right.
I'm like, you look up like average height, average weight. I'm like, there's a picture of me. Like, I am just not like I SAT average, every test, average. But I have an above average vision for my life and aspiration for my life. Yeah. And that is where it begins and where it ends. If you do not see yourself successful, if you do not believe in your success, you will never be successful, because whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are exactly right. So what I had was an unbelievable, obnoxious vision for my life. I'm talking to you from my shore house at the Jersey Shore. I have a shore house. I have a New York apartment. I have a beautiful home in Princeton, New Jersey, with a basketball court. I grew up with nothing. I know what it's like to go to a supermarket and you've bounced so many checks that you have to leave your grocery cart behind and go home and not eat. I know what that's like. I know what it's like to go to bed hungry. I know what it's like to not know where you're going to be sleeping in another night. I was only gifted one thing, and that was the gift of knowing, of having a brother with special needs that was relying on me to figure it the fuck out. Okay, Christopher? Figure it the fuck out, lady. I don't care if you're not that smart or tall or short or you're not a man. You got whatever the bullshit narrative is. You know, you got to go to the right school. You got to have the right look. All the bullshit excuses. It was like, good. Those are very lovely. Figure it the fuck out. And that's what I have. That was my gift in my life. I was gifted purpose. See, Stephen gave me rise to the greatest gift we can all be given, which is the gift of purpose. Like no quit, no backdoor, figure it out, make it work. So I say this about my shore house in New York and Princeton and the other things I have going on, is that this was all a vision at one point. This was all a belief. This was all like something I drew on a piece of paper, something I wrote down and I visualized. And I was like so hell bent, like, make a fucking big ass life for yourself. Take care of your brother, take care of your family. And you got like all these things were in this head. This is where it starts. They were, I didn't roll out of bed like, oh my God, I have a beach house. Like it didn't happen. It was between my vision for myself and the actuality of it was just doing the work and figuring it out, but staying like very clear with like why I was doing the work. Why was I, everyone else's happy hour in their 20s. Happy hour. I was like happy hour. People had Saturday. I worked 6 days a week, 12 hours doing like cold call, straight commission sales. I have like we all have a crazy story. But I think like when you ask like, how did I overcome adversity? And how did I persevere when I wanted to quit everything that I ever started? Was that alignment and that vision of like, number one, I have to take care of my brother. I can't quit. I quit. He's institutionalized. I can't quit. I have to figure it the fuck out. And I did. And it was that vision, that alignment with purpose and that vision for myself that I was unwilling to compromise. I was unwilling. I grew up going to the shore with my best friend. This is crazy, Christopher. So I grew up going with my best friend, Carrie White, down to her parents would get a place down the shore. And it was my 1 week of summer that I had summer. Otherwise, I I didn't have anything to do. It's not like we're at the swim club. Like we don't have a swim club.
Right.
I jumped fences to go sneak into people's club pools and stay underwater because then nobody could ask for my beach pass, my pool pass, if I was swimming underwater. So it was lucky I didn't drown but I like holds my breath like a Navy fucking SEAL.
There you go.
So my 1 week of summer was spending it with Carrie White. Anyway, in my head, I was like, I have to have this all summer. I got 1 week. They were the best 7 days of my life that year. And I just, all of it, but I wanted more. And I was like, I have to have a beach house. And now I have that. And sometimes I have to stop and be like, holy shit, you did it, girl. Like, yeah. Phew. But I had to believe and I had to be relentless in that. I had to be relentless and unwilling to quit. Unwilling. I was unwilling to quit, even though like nothing was going right. I just would take the next right step. I'm not giving up. I'm not quitting. I'm not. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like a robot that way. You can't, I don't know. I hope that lands for somebody.
There's no secret why we both have. It's believe. We have to believe that we're put here in this opportunity to do the best we can with what we have in those particular situations. And I think back on my situation, and I love what you're talking about because so many people don't have enough leverage in their life. They sit there and they say they want these different things. And so I'm like the leverage guy. I'm the no excuses guy. And I know for me, was back in 2008. I went to a funeral and I sat in the back of the church and I saw all of my coworkers eulogizing this person that I worked with. And I thought to myself, wow, what a beautiful way to live life. And I was great on paper. I was making 6 figures in a corporate job. I was very happy. I was drinking a little bit too much, still taking care of myself, but I wasn't thoroughly happy. I wasn't content in being who I wanted to be. I was very driven on validation and success. As long as I keep accomplishing more people are going to like me. It's going to take away from the fact that I feel this insecurity about myself. And so when I was sitting there thinking about this church situation, it dawned on me, I'm like, Christopher, if you died tomorrow, who would show up and what would they say? And it was hard. I thought, fuck, 10 or 15 people will show up. We're going to bring cases of Miller Genuine Draft and bottles of Jack Daniels and Motley Crue and Bon Jovi records. And they're going to talk about all the stupid shit Chris did. Oh my God, remember that time he drove a sandrail without his lights on? Remember that time he did this? Remember that time he passed out? Remember the time he blah, 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 blah. And then the postscript is going to be, oh, that's right, he was a homeless 7th grade dropout who lived in the backseat of a station wagon who changed the world. And I thought, is that really what I want to be remembered for? I want to be like this party animal who did all this stupid shit and chased girls and, fucking did stupid stuff. Or do I want to be remembered for that? And so when I was driving home, I thought to myself, how can I gain that leverage? How can I gain that clarity now in my life today? And so I thought about it. I went home and I wrote my eulogy. God's honest truth. I wrote it out. And as I read it back to myself, I started having tears down my face. I was crying because I got to the part that said, Christopher Rausch will have fought for what's right and what's fair. He will have risked for which that mattered. And he'll have left the earth a better place for who he was and what he did. And so for me, Barbara, and the same thing, I can see that for you, the why, the leverage every single day when I wanted to give up. Is this what I'm signing up for? Have I done what's right and what's fair today? Have I risked for which that mattered? Am I making the world a better place? No, you're fucking you're in a piss poor pity party. So you need to change your perspective about that. And one of those things that I want to ask you about that's going to go deep is I had to find a new way to love myself. I liked myself, but I didn't necessarily love myself because of the person that I'd become. I'd become so many different things for so many different people. I lost my own personal identity. How can we get people to find empathy and forgiveness and let go of the shame and the guilt so that they can love themselves, so they can have that clarity to be the best person they can be?
So much to unpack here because I love that you wrote your eulogy. I don't think it's depressing. I think it really is clarifying. Oh, yeah. And it really can be so powerful because when you start looking at like the life that you want to live, and my actions are completely incongruent with what I want. Like what I'm doing, like your time is your most valuable commodity. And the number one factor of success is actually the people you surround yourself with. So if the people you're surrounding yourself with and how you're spending your time aren't in alignment with your vision for how you want to live your life, you got to make some changes and some choices. And sometimes it means like, insulating yourself from the world and stop being a people pleaser and trying to like be the person you think other people are going to like and start being the person that you love takes real work, takes a lot of like transformation is an inside job, right? It takes a lot of like introspection and honesty with yourself when you're being a total shithead. Like honestly, one of the things I teach so much in the More Life Collective is sometimes you're the biggest problem. Like you got to do that checkup from the neck up because you're going to wreck yourself, right? You're your biggest problem 90% of the time. Like your excuses, your narratives, your bullshit. Get the fuck up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go for a jog. Okay. Yes. Cut the crap. Why can't I can't? Yes, I'm
not a morning person. Well, you're going to be a fucking medication and a surgery person later on in life.
You want to change your life, get up at 5 o'clock in the morning for the next 7 days, drink some water, go for a jog, go for a walk, go do your thing. Start your day better and start changing your habit or cultivating better habits because your habits lead to your outcomes. So, in just what you're saying, like, how do you love yourself? Well, get clear on what you want. You're supposed to be living your very best life. You're not here to live somebody else's version of a best life. You're supposed to be living yours. Yes. So, but most people don't even know what they want. So you get that opportunity to write your eulogy. How do you want to be remembered? I don't want to be remembered as, the best drinker at a party, and I'm not. I'm like the worst. I'm like a 2-beer buccaneer. I got to go to take a nap, steer clear. That was my rhyme for the day. A rap.
It's a children's book. It's a future children's book by Barbara Majeski.
Don't even bother. But I do have an idea of what the good life looks like. And the scary part about writing. So I'm big on water walking writing. Those are my 3 non-negotiables. If you ever do work with me, I'm like, all right, come onto the More Life Collective. We're starting here. You want to transform your life. We're going to take on 3 non-negotiables and that's it. And we're going to get started right there. But one of them is writing. And I'm like, let's get clear on your vision of what you want. So I did something very cool when I was, I probably was 13, 14. I wrote down, so my dad, we were living with my uncle in La Jolla, California. So it's my dad, my uncle Jeff, and my 3 brothers. So that's 5 dudes and me. I'm 13 years old. And we're living in a 1-bedroom studio apartment because they lost everything. And all we had was my dad's like a painter's van, like with 2 seats in the front. I mean, it was not a good time. And it was very hard for a 13-year-old girl. And by the way, before I head out to California, my last week was Carrie White at the beach. And then I go live with it. Horrible. Oh, wow. Anyway, So my dad would like drive us around to Ferrari dealerships and like beautiful homes and all this stuff. And he had me, because my dad was a visionary and a believer. Like if you do the things, you can get the things. So my dad had me draw a pic because I was miserable. He's like, why don't you draw the house that you want? So Christopher, I did this crazy thing. I drew, so I'm one of 4 kids. I have we're 2 sets of twins. I have a twin brother, Ben, and I have younger twin brothers, Michael and Steven. My mom's a triplet. It's in the fam.
Wow.
But my brother, Steven, in the second set is the one with special needs. So I drew the 4 bedrooms and a master bedroom for my parents, but the 4 bedrooms had these Jack and Jill bathrooms. I thought it'd be so cool. That way we could go to our separate rooms. We'd have this secret, like, to me, it was like this secret pathway to each other's rooms.
Sure.
And like, I just thought it was really cool. Like Barbara and Ben would have like the Jack and Jill, and Michael and Steven have their Jack and Jill. And my parents would have a master suite with their own bathroom. Like at the time, I'm sharing a bathroom with 5 dudes. I can't even express to you. I've blocked a little bit of it.
I can imagine.
Blocked it.
That's
for
a lot of nastiness.
Keeping. Oh, anyways. So
change the vision. Change the vision here.
So I pull up to my house. This is like 3 years ago. And I remembered drawing this picture. I live in a house with 4 bedrooms, Jack and Jill bathrooms, and a master bedroom. I drew the house that I live in. And not to make it all voodoo and crazy, but I'm telling you, it's the law of attraction. It's manifestation. It's like getting clear on what you want. And it's happened to me. I wrote down I wanted to be on the Today Show. My first booking on TV, the Today Show. Literally, it's the pen. And I'm sitting here as we go through this. I write things down that I need to stick in my head because there's power in the pen. I want to get more people to be like, get clear. Like you wrote your eulogy, that is transformative. Do you understand? Like getting clear on what you want, your subconscious mind has no sense of humor. So when you start embedding in your subconscious mind, like the vision for the way your life should be, you start moving in that trajectory. But here's the scary part that I forgot, but not really scary. When I started visualizing my life after I battled stage 3 cancer, and I started, I'd be like, okay, you just battled the beast. You dodged a major bullet, lady, because a lot of people don't survive. No. And I got diagnosed early for 42. I was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer. 3 kids. It was a total mess. My husband had just ended the marriage. It was like one of those like out of a Lifetime movie, waiting for my prince to show up. I have a prince now. I have a great boyfriend. Anywho, but when I got through that and I started to really be like, all right, I got another shot. I'm going to fuck this one up. This one's going to be good. How am I living the next best part of my life? I got very clear on what the good life meant to me. And my husband at the time, because we had tried to work through the adversity through had chemotherapy and marriage therapy simultaneously. That's a part of it. I was like, that's not the person I can do this with. I can't do it with him. I cannot do it with him. So I had to make some very hard decisions. So I want to just loop back to the one thing that the other thing we talked about. The number one factor of success is the people you surround yourself with.
Yes.
And if they are not in alignment with your vision, you're going to have to do some editing. And that doesn't mean you tell everyone to fuck off or you hire the mob. You just have to guard your time, right? So if that's a factor of success and these people aren't aligned with your vision for your future and they're doing things that do not make your time in alignment with that, you got to make tough choices. And I had to go through a really tough divorce to get to a really great place in my life. I own this beach house by myself. It's all mine. It's so good.
Wow, Barbara, there's so many nuggets that have been dropped in this. One of the questions that I believe that I feel called to ask you is it's kind of a dovetail on what you just said before. And I love the fact that you brought that up because it really is. It's about taking that imperfect action every single day. I would not be where I'm at today in my corporate career, my professional life, anything else, had I just not taken that imperfect action and figured it out every fucking step of the way. We were talking about being rock stars before. I wanted to go work at a record company when I was really young, when I was about 20, 21 years old. And so I started looking like, how do I start working at a record organization? There was no way to do it. So I started finding out, I'm like, sometimes record companies will actually create internships through colleges. And so I created an internship through my community college to go work at Virgin Records. And so I manifested that. And I wound up having to drive from Huntington Beach to Beverly Hills every single day in my 1969 Dodge Charger with busted rotors and no air conditioning and overheated. And I did it every single day for 6 months. You were talking about meeting Billy Joel. I had a situation where I met Billy Crystal. It's a funny story, but I just kept doing that every single day and kept trying to create what is next. And so many times we get mired in the fact we think we're doing the best we can. And I caught myself saying this probably, let's see, my son's 6 years old. It's probably about 7 or 8 years ago. I came home from work, very challenging, very, very successful corporate career. And I was putting my keys in my wallet on my dresser. And I said to myself out loud, because I talk to myself out loud. I think the out loud voice is the smart one. And I said, I did the best I could. And I stopped myself for a second. I'm like, you really think that was your best, Chris? One of the most poignant situations in my life, Barbara, where I went, that wasn't your best. You could have done so much better. Why did you just say you did the best you could? And so me being very, very curious and psychological and studying child psychology, I'm like, oh, where did that come from? Oh, it comes from when you're a kid. Barbara, did you do the best you could? Yeah. Okay, do better next time. Mm-hmm. It's like a get out of jail free card. And I sat there and I said, no, I didn't do the best I could. I half-assed it. And I'm sitting here having the expectation that I should have been successful when I really wasn't doing that. I hear time and time again, every single day, Chris, I'm doing the best I could. I'm hanging on. And I sit there and undoubtedly will ask them 3 or 4 questions and I'll find out they're absolutely not doing their best. In your words, and then we'll round out the interview because I know you got to go. Yeah. What can we do to get people to find what their best is? We talked about vision. We've talked about this tenacity, this imperfect action. When somebody says I'm doing the best we could, what can people do to call shit on themselves to sit there and say, no, there's way more in the tank. There's way more opportunity. There's way more leverage.
If you are a good friend and you want the best for them, then you have to say it's not good enough. I have just had this conversation with somebody. I'm like, you are not trying hard enough. You are not doing good enough, period. Because when your intention is to help somebody, they feel your intention. I am not there to hurt you, insult you. I'm not. My intention is to be like, it's not enough. You can do better. You can wake up and you can choose to eat an apple and have some water and have some tea, and you can make better choices. You can do better. You can make better decisions and do better for you. Did you walk today? Let me tell you something. Walking is one of the best things you can do for your mental health. You walk 30 minutes.
Do it every day.
Well, yeah. So, okay, that's where I would start. I've given all that I can. Oh, shut up. Stop. I would be like, stop. You're not. There's so much more in you, because you wouldn't be having this conversation with me if you didn't know more was in your tank. You wouldn't be sitting down with me, who's going to shine that mirror at you and say, no, there's more in you. I'm not going to sit there. I'm not that person. Because right, Christopher, like there's people out there that you can go to and they're like, you're so right. Oh my God, that's so sorry. But if you're coming to somebody like me and you're going to be like, no, you're not. And you know what? Let's do this together. I want you to send me a picture every day, a video of you walking your dog for 30 minutes, and then show me your walking tracker. I want to see your water. I want to see you right. You're not, you're at your edge because you're not doing the things that are going to make your life better. And walking can be one of the most transformative things that you do. If your life is in the shitter right now, I want you to go put your sneakers on and go for a 30-minute walk. Put some music on. Do not answer text message. Stop scrolling Instagram. Do not call your mother. Go for a walk. I don't want you to do any of that. I want you to be alone with your thoughts, because what walking does, it gets oxygen into your body. When you start oxygenating your body, you start oxygenating your mind. When you start getting oxygen going, you start thinking clearer. You get those endorphins. You start feeling good. When you start feeling good, you make better decisions. If you are not making good decisions, then make one right choice. Grab a water bottle, go for a walk. Goodbye. That's it. Call me later. And do that every day for the next 21 days, and you'll be a different person in 21 days. You want to change your life, go for a walk. And I swear, when people are like, they don't approach us because we're not the people that are going to give them what they want. We're going to give them what they need. You came to me because you want to live a better life. You came to me because you have more in your tank and you are not expressing it. You are not living at the highest expression of yourself. You are not in the physical shape that you can be in. You're not in the mental state that you should be in. You're not in the emotional state. And you came to me because I'm going to check yourself right now. I am literally going to stop stop you in your tracks and be like, grab your shoes, we're going for a walk. And you can whine and bitch all you want. Listen, you're probably going through something tough. I got you. You're going through something tough. We all have tough times. I'm going to listen. We're going to get through this and you're going to figure it out. But people don't go for us to be like, oh, I'm so sorry.
No.
I mean, I'll do that when they're in a bad place. Of course, like I feel very bad for you. Let's go for a walk.
I love that, Barbara. I love that. Yeah, basically what I tell people is the 5, like hydration, nutrition, exercise, sleep, and vitamin D. I'll just ask people. I gave out about a couple of 100 coaching sessions over the course of the pandemic. And I found out that one of the questions was whispered to me was to ask people, do you love yourself? Yes or no? And I found out a lot of people struggle to love themselves. And then my next question is like, how much water do you drink? And I found out that people like didn't even realize that their body's at 70, 80% water. I said, you don't drink enough water. You're dehydrated. You're making shitty decisions. You're going to your short-term gratifications. You're not taking care of yourself. If you're sleep shit and you're eating sugar before that and you're not getting any deep sleep, you're waking up exhausted. You go to bed tired. You're making poor decisions. You're starting off the day going, oh shit, everything's going to suck. And of course it's going to be a perpetual cycle because that's what you're envisioning and that's what you're creating through the manifestation process, through that law of attraction. So I love that you said that. Barbara, I could talk to you for hours. I would love to get you back here on the Raw and Unscripted show. It's long overdue. Where can people get a hold of you and continue? I want you to talk a little bit more about what you got going on and let people know what that's all about and where people can get a hold of you.
Yeah, so you can find me at Barbara Majeski, Instagram, Pinterest, all the places. I've also launched the More Life Collective community, which is all about from inspiration to transformation by taking action. I'm a girl that's like, you got the information, but information doesn't lead to transformation. It's doing the action. So I've launched this More Life Collective community to help more people take action in their life. It is founded on 3 non-negotiables. You'll agree with me. Water, walking, writing. So if you are struggling, you need to join my community, start locking into these 3 non-negotiables. And the best part about the community is one of the things most people struggle with is finding the right people. They're not hanging out with the right people. They're not with big thinkers. They're with Debbie Downers. They're with people with bad habits. Put yourself in this community and surround yourself with right-minded individuals, people that are committed to personal growth, but they know that they need the accountability. So that's what the community is about. It's been unbelievably transformative for people. It is all about taking action. And people have lost so much weight, but have transformed their lives because now they know what they want and know that they're not going to wasting their time doing things that are not in alignment with what they want. So if you're somebody who just struggles to even know where you're going, you're like, I don't know what I want. This community is going to help you get very clear and very focused, and you're going to be walking. So bring your shoes to the community, your water bottle, and your attitude, and we're going to make transformative life choices, right? Like I never sit down without water. You know, I also sit down with coffee. It doesn't make me a bad person. Coffee makes me a better mom.
Barbara Majeski, thank you so much for being here. This has been an amazing conversation. You are a beautiful soul. I love your raw intensity, your authenticity, congruency, your fire, your pep, your everything. I love and appreciate you. I'm so glad we finally got to do this one-on-one. So thank you for that. I'm going to put you backstage for a second. Don't go anywhere. I'm just going to end out the show real quick. And thank you for being here. Thank you. You are welcome. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, 53 minutes of pure chaos, insanity, and direct motivation, inspiration, and education for yourself. I talked about at the beginning of the show, write 3 things down. Between Barbara and myself, we gave you tons and tons of actionable items from our own personal stories. This isn't stuff we've made up. These are things that we have personally been through in our life to realize what it is I can do to become the best I can be, what it is I can do to find the leverage and what it's going to take for me to go above and beyond in my life. The fact of hydration, nutrition, sleep, exercise, vitamin D, getting up and doing things differently. Dr. Wayne Dyer said something so profound to me. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And then also, if you continue to do what you've always done, you will continue to get what you've always got. And I think the underlying and the overarching messages today is the fact that if you're not happy in your life, you got to stop blaming everybody else. You have to go to the accountability mirror and look at yourself in the eyes. Look at yourself in the eyes and ask yourself, did I show up here to be mediocre? Did I show up here to be complacent? Did I show up here to tolerate everyone else's bullshit? Did I show up here to sit there and hope, wish, and pray that someday things are going to change? Or did I show the fuck up here to be able to do the things that are uncomfortable, to make the decisions that are tough? Because at the ultimate end of it, it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. And that's the delineation between people who go to their grave with regrets. And you guys hear me talk about it all the time. No regrets. And the only person responsible for that is you. So like she said, wake up in the morning, decide I'm not a morning person. Well, fuck, stop telling yourself you're not a morning person. Guess what's going to happen? I'm a morning person. You know what? I'm deciding to be a morning person. I'm going to get up at 5 o'clock and I'm going to go for a walk before everybody else wakes up. I'm going to get up and I'm going to spend 20 minutes journaling. I'm going to spend 20 minutes listening to some personal development tapes. I'm going to focus on different stuff to get different outcomes. And I'm going to associate with different people who are out there going and getting it. And I'm going to take that imperfect action every single day to better myself because I deserve myself and I love myself. Stop putting yourself second. Stop putting yourself third. Stop tolerating shit from other people. Stop tolerating things from inanimate objects. Stop tolerating things from yourself and watch your success change. I highly, highly encourage you. Again, the More Life Collective, go check it out and connect with Barbara and all of her social media again at Barbara Majeski. She's the real deal. That's the only people that we have here on the Raw and Unscripted show. We'll be back here again next week, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Again, wherever podcasts are sold. Just go in there and type Raw and Unscripted. You can type Christopher Rausch. You can find my other podcast. And I just love and appreciate every one of you guys. Go out there and be the best person you could possibly be. Go out there, help heal humanity, set the example, set the light, set the path for what it is that's possible in your life. I love you guys. We'll see you here next time on the Raw and Unscripted show. Peace out. I'm Christopher Rausch.